I found the job listing tacked to a corkboard in a liquor store that didn't even have lights. One of those handwritten sheets photocopied too many times, so the ink had bled into itself. Night desk clerk needed, Marlin Arms Motor Lodge, cash pay, no experience required. Ask for Duke. There was no phone number, just an address scrawled across the bottom. That should have been the first red flag. The motel was buried in a forgotten neighborhood on the edge of the city. Half the streetlights didn't work, and those that did buzzed like angry insects. Stray dogs roamed in packs. The building sagged, brick and steel trying to give up the fight. The Marlin Arms looked like a tombstone from a distance, tall, gray, and crumbling. The kind of place people went when they didn't want to be found, or weren't supposed to be. I stepped inside just before dusk. The lobby was dim, reeking of mildew and something sweet and sour, like overripe fruit. A man stood behind the desk, short and wide, with skin the color of candle wax and fingernails stained yellow. He looked up when I came in, like he'd already been expecting me. "You Duke?" I asked. He nodded, then slid a manila folder across the desk. "Name?" I told him. He didn't write anything down. Didn't ask for ID, just stared. Then he turned and opened a drawer behind the counter. Pulled out a torn, water-damaged pamphlet. Inside was a sheet of paper, warped with age, but the words were still legible. "Read this," he said. I thought it was going to be a W-2 form, or hotel policies. It wasn't. The rules, revised and expanded. Lock the lobby doors at exactly 11:59 p.m. Not midnight. Not before. Locking them too soon draws attention. Locking them too late lets things in. Do not, under any circumstance, answer the payphone outside. Even if it rings. Even if it begs. That line hasn't worked in decades and no one you know will call it. If someone enters soaking wet and asks for a towel, hand them room 107. No matter how late. No matter what they look like. No questions. No eye contact. They leave before dawn. The elevator only has 8 floors. If it opens showing a 9th, do not step inside. Do not even look. Walk away, no matter who or what you see waiting. Never turn off the lobby TV. If it's showing static, let it. Static means it's feeding. If it stops feeding, it notices you. Room 3. 03 is not to be entered, cleaned, or disturbed. Don't touch the door. Don't knock. If you hear anything from inside, ignore it. Room 3. 03 tends to itself. Between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., if you smell citrus, hide. Under the desk. In a closet. Anywhere dark and closed. It will pass. Unless it sees you. If you hear humming from the vents or halls, ignore it. That's the janitor. We haven't had a janitor since 2014. Do not look at your reflection in the lobby window after 4 a.m. It will not show you. It will show who's waiting to take your place. I finished reading. The paper felt damp in my hands. "Is this a joke?" Duke's expression never changed. He lit a cigarette, indoors despite the no smoking signs, and said, "You get cash at the end of every shift. No taxes, no paper trail. No one bothers you here. You just follow the rules." I could feel something watching me from the corners of the room. Nothing visible, but a weight. A pressure in the walls, like the building had lungs and was holding its breath. Still, I was broke. I was desperate. And when I looked back at Duke, he was already pushing a rusted keyring across the counter toward me. Start tonight. I should have walked out, but I didn't. I took the keys, folded the rules into my pocket, and signed my name in the logbook. The pen felt warm, like something had been using it just before me. The motel lobby was humid, like someone had boiled the carpet. Yellowed wallpaper peeled at the corners, revealing what looked like black mold, or just shadows that wouldn't leave. A roach scuttled across the desk as I clocked in. I didn't kill it. I read the rules again, twice, and taped them to the wall behind the desk. A ritual, I guess. A charm to ward off doubt. Nothing really happened for the first hour. A man came in wearing 3 coats and no shoes. He didn't make eye contact. Paid in cash, exact change, didn't ask for Wi-Fi. I gave him room 108. He limped down the hall without a word. At 12:10 a.m., the payphone rang. It was tucked under a busted street lamp just outside the lobby window. A clunky, rusted box with a cracked receiver. I stared at it from inside the lobby, expecting it to stop, but it didn't. 3 rings, 5, 10. It kept going. Then I heard the rules echo in my mind. Don't answer the payphone outside. It hasn't worked since 1996. The phone stopped ringing at 12:21 a.m. I almost laughed, until someone knocked on the window. 3 sharp, frantic knocks. I spun toward the glass. No one was there, but a set of handprints smeared the outside. Long, spindly fingers with too many joints. Then the lights flickered, and the payphone rang again. When I arrived for my second shift, Duke wasn't there. Just a post-it note stuck to the desk. Keep your head down. Don't listen to the vents. Not part of the original rules, but it didn't feel like a joke. Not anymore. It was a quiet night. Rain tapped against the glass, and the TV buzzed in the corner, stuck on a channel of static and occasional whispers. I didn't dare touch it. A woman came in around 11:30 p.m. She looked like she hadn't slept in years. Thin as a rail, pale lips, eyes sunken but wide. She never blinked. Paid in cash, room 104. Before she left the counter, she leaned in and whispered, "He's still watching from the mirror, you know." I didn't respond. After she disappeared into the hallway, I went to the mirror across from the check-in window. It was about 3 feet wide, framed in gold plastic, probably from a dollar store. Duke had put duct tape across it in a big X. I peeled back a corner and stared. At first, it looked normal. Just me in the lobby behind me. Then my reflection smiled. I wasn't smiling. Then it waved, slow, mechanical. I backed away and retaped the corner. When I sat back down, the static on the TV spiked into a harsh, scraping scream, like metal dragged over bone. Then a voice whispered from the ceiling vent, "Did you see him?" "He saw you." I didn't move for the next hour. And the mirror? The tape was off again. This time, it had peeled itself. By night 3, the building felt different. The air had taken on a weight, like walking through a bad dream where everything resists your steps. Even the lights seemed more tired, buzzing louder, flickering longer. I noticed stains on the carpet that hadn't been there before. Dark ones that stretched from under room doors to nowhere in particular. That night, the elevator chimed at 1:06 a.m. I hadn't called it. It was old, cage style, with a gate that screeched when it moved. I heard the grinding long before I saw the door slide open. I turned to look and froze. The number above the door glowed 9. We only had 8 floors. The 9th didn't exist. But there it was, glowing bright green like it had always been there. The elevator interior was completely dark. I couldn't see the floor, couldn't see if anyone was inside. Then the button for the lobby lit up, by itself. A second later, the gate started to close. A whisper followed. "Coming down!" I ran to the breaker room and cut the power to the elevator. The humming stopped. The next morning, the number display was gone. But the elevator still reeked of mildew and something worse, like something had died inside and wasn't alone when it did. By night 5, I knew every strange tick and creak in that building. I could tell the difference between a rat in the walls and something pretending to be one. I could tell when the wind changed from natural to unnatural, when it blew cold from vents that hadn't been active in decades. At exactly 3:12 a.m., I smelled citrus, sharp, sweet, like someone had peeled a fresh orange and rubbed the zest into the walls. I froze. Rule number 7. If you smell citrus between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., hide under the desk until it passes. I didn't hesitate. I slid under the desk, clutching the flashlight tight, heart pounding so hard I thought it would echo. The scent got stronger, overwhelming. Then came the sound. Footsteps, slow, wet, like bare feet dragging through a shallow puddle. They entered the lobby. I didn't look, but I could hear breathing. It was wrong. Too deep for any lungs I knew. It sounded like a wind tunnel, like something inhaling the whole room. Something brushed the front of the desk. I held my breath. Then I heard a voice. I remember your face from the mirror. I stayed silent. It waited. I felt it lean over the desk. It sniffed. Then, just as suddenly, the citrus scent faded. The lights came back. The clock read 3:31 a.m. When I stood up, the floor, tiles in the lobby were wet, as if someone or something had stood there for a long time, waiting. By now, I barely recognized myself in the smeared bathroom mirror in the office. My skin looked dry, drawn tight like a shroud. My eyes had a constant tremor, like they were tired of seeing what they'd seen. I was tired, but I never felt sleepy. Not anymore. I made it until 2:59 a.m., just sitting at the desk, rereading the rules over and over like they were a prayer. Then I smelled it again. Citrus. It didn't come in softly this time. It hit like a wave, so strong my eyes watered. I dove under the desk and curled up against the drawers. This time, I noticed the scratches under the counter. Thin, claw-like grooves on the wood, some newer than others. The air pressure shifted, like something enormous was moving through a tight hallway. I heard the front door creak open, then slam shut. Footsteps, wet, rhythmic. I dared to peek through the crack under the desk. I saw toes, long, disjointed, no nails, pale and swelling, covered in a brown film like dried pulp. Then a hand slapped against the front counter, a hand with too many fingers. They were twitching, clenching and unclenching, like it was struggling to make a fist. It started to hum, not a song, something broken, breathless, like a recording warped by time. Then came the voice. I'm going to peel you next. I shut my eyes. When I opened them, it was gone. But on the counter, in sticky yellow smears, the word soon was written in what smelled like rotting orange juice. I started hearing the elevator moving again, grinding metal from behind the walls, even though the power to the lift had been shut off days ago. The panel behind the desk kept blinking like it was alive, red lights forming impossible patterns. At 1:04 a.m., it dinged, and the door opened. No one was inside, but on the floor was something folded, a page torn from a ledger. It had my name on it, written in black ink, dated 6 years ago. Room 609. There is no 6th floor, and definitely no 609. But when I blinked, the number above the door lit up again. 9, I stepped back. Farther. And that's when the humming started again. But this time, it wasn't from the vents. It was from the elevator. Something started to crawl into view. A head first. pale, bald. The skin was pulled too tightly around the skull, like it had dried. After death. No eyes. Just sockets. It reached out, one long, trembling arm, and it smiled. I didn't look back. I ran down the stairwell and locked myself in the storage closet on floor 2. I stayed there until dawn. When I came back up, the lobby was untouched, except for one thing. On the elevator doors, scratched in with long, jagged lines. Don't keep me waiting. I knew it would end tonight. This is night number 9. There's a certain kind of silence that falls before something breaks. The same way everything feels too still before a tornado touches down. That's how the lobby felt when I arrived on night 9. The lights didn't flicker anymore. They just didn't come on at all. The TV was off, but I could still hear static, somewhere behind the walls. And the mirror behind the desk, the sheet that once covered it, was gone. Not peeled, not fallen. Gone. I sat down and lit the candle Duke left me. The flame was crooked and blue. The building was already shifting. I heard doors opening down the hallways, one by one. Soft creaks like breath caught in old wood. The front doors were locked. I triple-checked them. Didn't matter. At 12:13 a.m., the payphone rang. 3 times. Then again. Then 6 times. I covered my ears. That's when I heard the elevator ding. I didn't move. Not at first. I stared at the security monitor, the one that had been pure static for nights. Now it was working. It showed the elevator doors open, empty, then slowly filling with dark water from the floor up. And in the reflection on the elevator's back panel, I saw myself. Not sitting behind the desk, but standing inside the elevator, smiling. 1 a.m. The elevator doors opened again in real life. I stood up. I don't know why. Maybe I was tired of being afraid. Maybe I wanted to know what I had become. The number above the door was glowing. 9. The interior of the elevator was no longer dark. It was lit by a dim, humming red light. The walls were warped, wet, breathing. The 9 button was already pressed. I stepped in. The door shut behind me without a sound. The 9th floor wasn't part of the building. It was below it, inside it. I felt it in my teeth as the elevator moved. Not down, not up, but inward. The air smelled like rotting flowers and salt. When the doors opened, I stepped out into a hallway that looked like the others, but wrong. Twisted. The floor sloped slightly. The wallpaper pulsed like muscle. All the doors were open. Inside the rooms, I saw things. Versions of me. One was mopping blood off the tile. One was screaming into a mirror, mouth wide but silent. One was curled up on a bed that breathed beneath him like a lung. All of them looked up at me. None of them blinked. Then I heard the humming again, the janitor's hum. Only now it was loud, constant. I turned the corner and saw room 609, a door that hadn't existed anywhere else, but here it was. The number was carved in the wood, fresh, and the door was ajar. I pushed it open. Inside was a lobby. My lobby, but ruined. Mold crawling up the walls, the desk blackened by rot. The mirror cracked and bleeding something that wasn't blood. Behind the desk sat Duke, or what was left of him. He looked at me and mouthed something. Over and over. I stepped closer. I could finally read his lips. "You're late." Then the lights went out. I woke up behind the desk. The lobby looked the same as always. Diamond Soy's silent, but I knew better. I opened the logbook. Every page was filled. My name, written again and again and again. Different dates, some in the future, some going back years. I flipped to the back. There was one final rule scrawled in ink that smelled like rust. 10. If you stay 9 nights, you stay forever. I don't leave now. I can't. The front door won't open. The streets outside don't lead anywhere. The phone never stops ringing. And I'm not alone. Not anymore. Sometimes I hear someone under the desk, crying. Other times, I catch my reflection staring at me from room 609, smiling with someone else's mouth. If you find this, if you're offered the night shift at a place with no return address, don't take it. Because you don't just work floor 9, you become it. And eventually, you forget what floor you started on. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more scary stories.